Their Excellencies, the Right Honourable Dame Patsy Reddy, Governor-General of New Zealand, and Sir David Gascoigne.
Tai ea tēnei momo, tai ea tēnā momo whakatairangatia. Whakamānawatia te toki atu, whakamānawatia te rau mōrongo. Oi whiwhia te tohu, oi rawea te tohu, oi tamaua te tohu, taumata rautia te tohu, haumi e, hui e, tai e.
I ngā mana, i ngā reo, i ngā iwi o ngā hoe whā. Tēnei aku mihi mahana ki a koutou. Kia ora tātou katoa. Nau mai, haere mai rā ki te wharekawana. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, warm greetings to you all and welcome to Government House. I specifically acknowledge the Honourable Carmel Sepuloni, Minister of the Crown, our kuia, Dr. Hiria Hape, our kaumātua, Professor Piri Shasha, tēnā koutou. It is a great pleasure for me to host this investiture ceremony and bring together 11 honour recipients, along with their family and friends, to recognise the contributions they've made to our country. As Governor-General, I have the privilege and the authority, on behalf of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth, the Queen of New Zealand, to hold an investiture for her and to confer the honours to which each recipient is entitled. Ladies and gentlemen, as each one is honoured, I invite you to join me in thanking and congratulating them for their service to our country. Ward Kamo will now summon the recipients and read a citation for each one.
Your Excellency, to receive the insignia of a Dame Companion of the New Zealand Order of Merit, Dame Gayleen Preston of Wellington, for services to film. Dame Gayleen Preston has continued to contribute New Zealand stories to global cinema, and her award-winning work has screened extensively at international festivals including Venice, Sundance, Toronto, London, Fantasporto, Chicago, San Francisco and Munich. Most recently, Dame Gayleen made the documentary film My Year with Helen, 2017, on Helen Clark's bid to become the United Nations' first female Secretary-General. She was the writer, producer and director of the 2010 film Home by Christmas, a narrative documentary based on her father's recollections of his service during World War II, which received international acclaim and was in the top 15 highest grossing New Zealand films ever in its year of release. She produced and directed the 2006 documentary Earthquake, presenting eyewitness accounts of the Napier earthquake. She wrote, produced and directed the award-winning 2003 film Perfect Strangers. In 2010, she received the inaugural Lifetime Achievement Award for Outstanding Contribution to Documentary from Documentary Edge, and a Women in Film and Television New Zealand Award for Outstanding Contribution to the New Zealand Screen Industry. She wrote, produced and directed the 2014 miniseries Hope and Wire on the aftermath of the 2010-2011 Christchurch earthquakes. Dame Gayleen edited war-themed archival films which were projected onto the Auckland War Memorial Museum for Anzac Day commemorations in 2011 and 2012.
Tēnei te miki ki a koe te ka urangi o te ao pāpā hoe. Tēnā koe ki te wānau o Preston o te waipau namu oki e. Tēnā rā koutou, tēnā rā koutou, tēnā rā koutou e.
Tūtira mai ngā iwi,
Tātou, tātou e. Tūtira mai ngā iwi. Tātou, tātou e. Vai a te maramatanga. Me te aroha e ngā iwi. Ki a potahi, ki a potahi rā. Tātou, tātou e.
Your Excellency, to receive the insignia of a Companion of the New Zealand Order of Merit, Ms. Barbara Kendall of Whangaparaoa for services to sport. Barbara Kendall is the only New Zealand woman to have competed in 5 Olympic Games, winning gold, silver and bronze in board sailing. She won 11 World Championship medals and was the New Zealand national champion 25 times. She represents New Zealand on 3 International Olympic Committee commissions, chairs the Association of National Olympic Committees Athletes Commissions, and is Vice President of the International Surfing Association. She served on the World Anti-Doping Agency's Athletes Commission and the New Zealand Athletes Commission and chaired the Oceania Athletes Commission. She was a New Zealand Sport and Recreation Ambassador and sat on the High Performance Sport Yachting New Zealand Board. Ms. Kendall is an Olympic Schools Ambassador for the New Zealand Olympic Committee and the Chef de Mission for the New Zealand 2018 Youth Olympic Team. Your Excellency, to receive the insignia of an Officer of the New Zealand Order of Merit, Mr. Dan Carter of Auckland for services to rugby. Mr. Dan Carter made his All Blacks debut in 2003 and became the most capped All Black first 5/8 in 2012. He was a member of the victorious All Blacks Rugby World Cup squads in 2011 and 2015 and was also a member of the World Cup squads in 2003 and 2007. He became the 5th All Black to achieve 100 caps in 2013 and is the highest point scorer in Test rugby history, having ended the 2015 Rugby World Cup on 1,598 points. He has been named the International Rugby Board's International Player of the Year 3 times. Excellency, to receive the insignia of a member of the New Zealand Order of Merit, Mr. Glenn Ashby of Melbourne, Australia, for services to sailing. Glenn Ashby was the skipper and sailing team director of Emirates Team New Zealand for the successful challenge for the America's Cup in Bermuda. He coached the winning BMW Oracle team before joining Team New Zealand for its America's Cup challenge in San Francisco. He won his first Sailing World Championship aged 18 and has since won 17 World Championships, 9 of those in the A-class catamaran. He won a silver medal in the Tornado class at the 2008 Beijing Olympic Games. Hailing from Bendigo, Australia, Mr. Ashby remains connected with grassroots sailing there, regularly returning to support young and developing sailors. Mrs. Val Burrell of Te Puke for services to the community and horticulture. Val Burrell has contributed to community organisations within Te Puke and at regional and national levels. She has been active with the New Zealand Women's Institute for 57 years and was Te Puke Paingaroa President. She is Regional President of the Tauranga Federation and served on the National Executive. She was currently National Treasurer of the National Dahlia Society and has been Northern Secretary, National Secretary, Treasurer and Privacy Officer. She has assisted with producing the Society's magazine and various fundraising efforts. She has been Regional and Local Treasurer of the Floral Arts Society of New Zealand. Mrs. Burrell was a member of the Te Puke War Memorial Hall Committee. Mrs. Annette Whale of Auckland for services to youth and Pacific peoples. Annette Whale was General Manager of the Halligan Foundation for 14 years, and through Halligan she founded the New Zealand National Young Leaders Day, NYLD. NYLD has grown to become the largest youth leadership event in New Zealand. Mrs. Whale worked as events manager for the Parenting Place after it merged with the Halligan Foundation. She is now CEO of the First Foundation, which helps young New Zealanders participate in tertiary education. She has been events manager for World Vision New Zealand and leadership director for the Sir Peter Blake Trust. Mrs. Whale initiated the Women of the Pacific Charitable Trust to inspire and equip Pacific women in New Zealand. Ms. Lydia Ko of Florida, United States of America, for services to golf. Lydia Ko has been the world's top-ranked amateur and professional women golfer. She was the youngest player of either gender to be ranked #1 in professional golf and the youngest to win a professional golf tour event. She was the only amateur to win 2 LPGA Tour events. She won the inaugural Race to CME Globe season-long points race after winning 3 titles for the Marathon Classic, Swinging Skirts, and the CME Globe Tour Championship. Her 63 in the 2015 Evian Championship was the lowest ever closing round score in a women's major championship. Ms. Ko won the silver medal in women's golf at the 2016 Olympic Games. Dr. Susie Wiles of Auckland for services to microbiology and science communication. Susie Wiles is a microbiologist and head of the University of Auckland's Bioluminescent Superbugs Lab. She has authored a number of publications, including the book Antibiotic Resistance, The End of Modern Medicine. She was appointed a lecturer in the Department of Infectious Diseases and Immunity at Imperial College, London. She has utilised a number of mediums to demystify science and raise awareness. Her recent science communication projects include art exhibitions involving artists producing works using bioluminescent bacteria and a collection of petri dishes, and a show about microbiology for kids co-hosted with her daughter. She was one of 8 scientists who fronted the public awareness campaign for the National Sciences Challenges. Your Excellency, to receive the Queen's Service Medal, Mr. John Clark of Auckland for services to the community. John Clark is the former chairman of the Cornwall Park Trust Board. In this role, he managed many challenging issues and oversaw increased visitor numbers to the park and several major developments. He was responsible for the relaunch of Sir John Logan Campbell's book, Pounamu Revisited, and was instrumental in the reprinting of Reminiscences of a Long Life, John Logan Campbell. As president of the Auckland Division of the Cancer Society of New Zealand, he was responsible for the development of Domain Lodge to accommodate cancer patients and their families while receiving treatment at Auckland City Hospital. Mr. John Elliott of Auckland for services to the community. John Elliott founded the monthly Ponsonby Community Newsletter and continues to write opinion editorials for the renamed Ponsonby News. He was a guide on Tiritiri Matangi Island Sanctuary and served a term on the Supporters Committee. He has campaigned against the use of poisonous agrochemicals on Auckland streets, parks and reserves. He has also advocated for the Auckland Council to establish an urban sanctuary at Western Springs. He is recognised in the community as a fair-minded advocate and has often been called on to chair local meetings. Mr. Elliott was the Member for Parliament for Whangarei from 1975 to 1981. Mrs. Gwen Lawson of Whangarei for services to Sports Administration. Gwen Lawson was Secretary, Treasurer, Club Delegate and President of the Northland Women's Bowling Association and later chaired the board of the Amalgamated Bowls Northland. She was Secretary Treasurer of the New Zealand Women's Umpires Association for Bowls. She holds multiple Bowls Championship titles. She was an executive member and treasurer of the New Zealand Marching Association and president of the Whangarei and Northern Associations. She was a netball coach, helped establish the Central Netball Club and was chief administrator. She was the official tutor examiner for umpires for Northland. Mrs. Lawson volunteered for Solo Parents Incorporated and budget advisor for families. Your Excellency, the investiture is concluded.
An investiture ceremony is the most important event I hold on behalf of Her Majesty, the Queen of New Zealand. It allows me, as Governor-General, to recognise and thank an extraordinary group of people on behalf of all New Zealanders. By using their talents to make ours a better society, whether by service to their communities or by their leadership in diverse fields, or their commitment to excellence in their field of expertise, our recipients have set a fine example for others to follow. To the recipients, it's been a privilege to hear your stories today. You have demonstrated determination, commitment and compassion in your daily lives. In each in your own way, you have helped to make New Zealand a better place to live. In some cases, your influence and the positive impact of your work has extended beyond our shores. Your actions and the stories we've heard reflect the spirit of the words of Nelson Mandela when he said, "What counts in life is not the mere fact that we have lived, It's what difference we have made to the lives of others that will determine the significance of the life we lead. Your contributions have contributed to the cultural, social and economic fabric of Aotearoa New Zealand. Please wear your insignia with pride, knowing that your communities appreciate and value your work and are inspired by your example. On behalf of the Queen of New Zealand and all New Zealanders, I congratulate you on your achievements and I thank you for your service to our country. Kia ora hui hui tātou katoa. Ladies and gentlemen, that almost brings to a close the formal part of today's ceremony. But before we break for refreshments, can I ask you to stand and join me in singing our national anthem in Māori and English?